Hi, my name is Andrea Paras. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of Guelph. One of the questions that I explore in my research is how and to what degree are faith-based NGOs distinct from non-faith-based NGOs? Do they have any unique qualities or possibly even any advantages during humanitarian crises? Usually I think about this in the context of humanitarian crises in the developing world, but what we are now seeing is a global health emergency that has affected nearly all countries around the world, irrespective of economic or political status. So I began to wonder how faith organizations and faith communities are responding to this crisis and whether their responses bring any advantages and what might be unique about these responses. My research suggests that faith-based organizations may have some advantages. First, these organizations have well-established global networks that make it comparatively easy for them to mobilize quickly. They have a well-established and loyal donor base within their communities, whether they be churches, mosques, or synagogues. This means they can mobilize relatively quickly to offer different forms of support, whether it be in fundraising or more concrete types of assistance, like organizing to deliver groceries to vulnerable community members. The other possible advantage is that faith communities can capitalize on their moral authority. Faith leaders typically command significant amounts of respect and deference from their followers, which means that they can potentially have a lot of influence when it comes to advising members about how they should be responding to the pandemic. For example, when the Pope cancelled his weekly Sunday blessing in St. Peter's Square, this sent a strong message to not only Catholics in Rome, but to Catholics and even non-Catholics all around the world. When leaders like this talk, people listen. But this can also work in the other direction, as we've seen, for example, with US churches who continue to hold large services, or examples of other faith communities who have disregarded public health recommendations. Many people trust their religious leaders more than they trust their government, so if their religious leaders choose to ignore public health directives, those people will be more inclined to follow that advice. We've seen how this kind of exercise of moral authority has had really tragic consequences. Finally, there's evidence that faith perspectives can offer people comfort during difficult times. For instance, there have been numerous reports of how online attendance in live-streamed religious services has skyrocketed in comparison to their live versions that took place even just a few weeks ago. When people feel like everything is out of their control, there's a powerful urge to make meaning or sense out of these challenging experiences. For some people, a faith framework offers a lens through which to interpret and understand these kinds of experiences. It is important to understand how communities respond to crises and what contributes to building resilience. Overall, it appears that people find resilience in feeling connected to something greater than themselves, whether this is through volunteering or donating support, relying on the advice of their faith leaders, or making some larger meaning out of a difficult experience. Faith communities have the advantage of readily being able to offer all of these things, which is why they bring some advantages to crisis situations. Thank you for listening.